Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist Church, and I'm glad you could join me for this episode. This week, I have a very special guest on the podcast. Carla Hummel is here. Carla has been added to our staff this year in the mission coordinator role, and so she's here to talk a little bit about that for us to get to know her a little bit more and to learn about all of the things that we've been doing at the church around mission. So thanks for coming today, Carla.
Yeah, you bet. This has been, as we said right before we started this, is drinking from the water hose. So it's been quick.
Yes, we are a church that's very committed to missions. And so this position always has a lot going on. And we are so grateful for Carla to step into it. And she's been doing a phenomenal job. But before we get to all of what we do as a church, I just want to share a little bit and for us to get to know you a little bit. I want to share first my first experience with you.
Wow,
she's like,
this is dangerous.
When was that? Carla's someone that I actually met before I came to Yankton as the pastor. There's, different people I've known. I think I've mentioned before, Diane Kish, who's on staff here. I've known since I think I was 18 years old in some capacity. But Carla actually met in Chicago. That's the first time I met you. I knew her daughter Valerie through Methodist things in the past, but Valerie was looking to go to seminary at Garrett Evangelical, which is where I went to seminary. Go Garrett. And so when they came to visit campus, I was the one that got to give you the tour, and I brought you guys to my apartment, which I don't ever do. And that was a really fun day.
Yeah.
But that was my first experience with you.
And it was cool because how would we ever think that this would go full circle, come back,
that we would work together so closely now. I had no idea at that time. We were just always really excited when someone from South Dakota came, because not only was I on staff in the admissions department, but so the head of admissions at Garrett Evangelical at the time was also a Dakota's conference person, Becky Eberhardt. So we just always got really excited when we had Dakota people, and Valerie ended up going there and graduating. Now she's clergy in Montrose, and her husband Seth is clergy in Hartford. Did I get that right?
Yep, that's correct.
And so Carla also has the kind of insight of being family to clergy.
I wish it would work in reverse. So, like as if I could say I got some kind of knowledge off of my child from having attended.
What I would say, though, and I think it is a blessing in this church because there are multiple people who have children who are clergy, or is that there is a sense of understanding the clergy person as a person, and the challenges that come with it. Families see a different side of ministry with a clergy person than everyone else, because you understand that person still is a person with their own life and roles. And so it's been a blessing to me to have so many in this church who see that and understand that. So including you.
Yeah, it's a completely different work week, isn't it?
It is. It is. And it never looks the same. Never looks the same. And so Carla, what brought you into wanting to take on this mission coordinator role? What motivated that for you?
Well, working at the hospital, we're very mission driven, and it's just kind of a part of my heart. And so when it opened up, it just made sense. It just seemed like something that I could do and be able to give to the church in that capacity. So that it just, like I said, kind of fell into place. It felt like it fell into my lap, so to speak.
Well, it was certainly an answer to prayer for us as well, because again, this is a very pivotal role in the church, because we are a church that's so mission centered. We are a church of doers. We like to do things. We really take seriously that transformation of the world piece. And so that was a really critical role that we wanted to have filled. One, just have filled, but two, filled with the right person. And we felt very much that Carla fit the bill And in your first few months on the job, you've gone above and beyond
Thank you.
what we could have hoped for. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things you've done this fall in the role, some of the things that we've done as the church in missions that you got to dive right into.
Loads of Love was really something that was new to me. So that to me it was probably the most diving into that I've done. I had to learn what that process was, which is not difficult. So it's good because anybody can be involved, and we'll be looking for all of you to be involved.
Yes.
So that's probably the biggest one because that goes all year long. The other things just kind of come up at different times of the year, and we're in a very busy time in December. So you've definitely felt the angel tree and, just coming off of caroling with care casseroles. That was a really successful time. I think we got to reach out to some people we don't normally get an opportunity to. So that was really special. Just the Christmas tree at Mead, even just getting to reach out to the community. So there's just so many ways that we can do that. And December's just been a really busy time for stepping into a lot of those things of how we can make an impact in other people's lives right around the holidays. So
yeah, so I want to talk really briefly because some of these things you might not be aware of or were new this year. And so Loads of Love, like she said, goes all year. And that's something that I really am passionate about because it's one of our opportunities to really meet people in their need. And I really believe that mission should be about relationships and about connecting with people outside of our church. And so I think that's one of our goals in the next year is to really try to get as much of our church involved, especially in that mission, as we can. But the one I really loved that was new to us this year was the caroling with care casseroles. Where did that idea come about? I'm not even sure.
Well, I think we talked about caroling and then it just kind of bounced. It just literally bounced off of, hey, wait a minute, we've got care casseroles, so we can even
we could
take something with us when we caroled. And so, yeah, I think it was a combination of ideas. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
One person had it, but it definitely pulled together.
One of those things where when we all are working together, someone comes up with an idea and then someone else goes, but what if we did this? Or what if we did that? And that was one of those times.
There's more.
Yeah. And so I was one of the people who went caroling. Can I say it that way? I'm going to say it that way. And it was so much fun. In our group, I had my family with my 3 small children, and I had the Pietalas with their 2 small children. And so, we kind of decided that our group was very much like, we're going to bring the cute factor, but it was also really nice to have something to hand and say, we're not just here to offer this song to you, but we're also here. And here's a tangible gift from the church and that we care about you. And it was really, the first couple people weren't home, which was kind of a bummer. But once we started seeing, we saw tears come to people's eyes and just, especially those who haven't been able to make it to church, to know that their church family still cared about them, was reaching out to them, was going to them. I know meant a lot. I was getting phone calls after that, just how much it meant. And I know that there were 2 groups of us that went out and that it was the same experience with the other group as well.
The other one had somebody that started singing with them. And I thought, they probably don't get the opportunity to sing. You don't sing those songs unless you're with a group. And so, it was very special that happened. They were able to help somebody in with their groceries so that they were able to assist. And then I did follow-up calls on the ones that weren't home because we left the meals anyway, and still very appreciative, very thankful for everything, for us thinking of them, and that was the key, was being able to reach out and show that we really care and we're thinking about you in a, like you said, a tangible way.
Right. And it was a great experience, for my kids to be able to go and do something for someone else and really this is not about us. We are giving here. And they had so much fun singing, and we were singing Happy Birthday, Jesus, because that's what my 4-year-old wanted to sing. And it was, again, it was one of those experiences where it creates that memory for them and plants that seed of generosity. And so I was really excited about that new thing that we did this year.
Yeah.
Can't wait to bring that back. The other thing, so we did angel tree. This was a record number of angels this year.
Yeah, as far as I know, I have never known them to have this many angels, and they all got taken from the tree.
Yeah.
Thank you all,
Yes.
because that was huge.
I think it was like 60, 68
Yeah,
angels.
sounds right. Yep.
And in the
Yep.
past, we've had
Mhm.
where the youth group has kind of taken on whatever is left, and they will shop. But this year, I don't think they did that, because you all took them and took care of doing that. And then we also had extra donations this year toward angel trees. We had someone making pillowcases, and we had someone who crocheted little winter knit hats that were the cutest thing I've ever seen. To add along, we had the donation of the teddy bears that got added into those gifts. And so again, it just went above and beyond this year, and it was so cool to see.
I wish I could be a mouse in the corner, because
I
that's
know.
going to be a fun party when they get to pick up all their stuff. So
Yeah, so Tom and Jane Gilmore are elves, if you will.
Right.
Has anyone ever called Tom Gilmore an elf? Well, I just did, but they're the ones that take those gifts out there and help with that coordinating process. So a big special thanks to the two of them and the work that they did behind the scenes for that. And then you and I also did something a little bit different this year for the month of December that we added into the newsletter, where we did a calendar of giving. And again, I'm not even sure. And it could be that I'm in the midst of the December craziness and my brain just is like, I don't remember things. And I don't remember where that one came from either, but I think
we had a couple people drop off different types of calendars that other churches were doing. And we found ourselves going, but we want people to be more involved in the missions that we're doing.
Right.
And so how can we tweak this and make it our own? And so,
we put it out in the newsletter. We have it out for people to do as many or as few of those things as works for them, but just again to get that mindset of at Christmas is a time for generosity and giving, that it's not so much about the things that we get, but it's about blessing others. And so that was a really fun project.
Yeah, actually it really was. And you can see the things that have come in out in the lobby. And so there are people that are getting into it. And so it gets you in the spirit of things.
So that's something that I hope that we will continue to offer, and you can kind of plan for in the future. This year was one of those that we didn't promote it really until it happened, because we didn't know it was going to happen until it happened.
Right.
But I lift those things up because when people come to us with ideas, we try to do things with it if we can, or what we find is, someone comes with an idea and then it starts to get tweaked and added to, and it gets really exciting. And so this fall has been really cool to see how our missions have taken on a new life in a way. So, and we've got
and I have to say, but wait, there's more. There's more coming.
More. and one of our biggest mission opportunities is actually next week.
Oh yes, right. Yeah.
It's
Christmas.
Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
yes. Banquet is next week.
Banquet is next week. Because Christmas Eve is Sunday.
Yes.
Christmas is Monday and the banquet is Thursday.
Right.
And so it feels like, that's not until the end of December. And it's like, nope, that's next week.
Next week.
Which is why Carla's here today.
Right.
So the banquet is something we've been partnering with for a long time. I think we were one of the original in like the first year of the banquet.
Probably.
Being in Yankton, we were on the serving list. And so we've had this partnership for many years. And so we are serving on Thursday, the 28th. And so do you want to tell us a little bit more about what we're doing?
Well, the menu is working out rather nicely. We've had a donation of ham. So the ham's already going to be the main meal. Donation of macaroni and cheese, which we thought the kids would love.
And adults.
Yeah, well, of course, absolutely. And then, so most of what's left to give is green beans, applesauce, cupcakes, because you got to have dessert, right?
Right.
And then maybe a few spots for volunteering, but I think we're even filling in pretty good for volunteering. And So it's looking pretty good. I'm excited to serve this year and be a part of it, be an active part of it. So yeah.
It's one of the things I really look forward to.
Mhm.
Last year at our Christmas, so we do banquet twice a year typically. And last year, the Christmas one, I had influenza, and so I wasn't able to go. And so I'm grateful that,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm hoping, I guess I don't know, a week, who
Yeah.
knows what can happen, but
Right.
I'm very much hoping that I get to be there again. And I always bring my 4-year-old with me. Of all of my kids, he is my banquet helper. And he and I usually hand out tickets, and he will hand out the tickets and greet everyone and welcome
That's
them.
awesome.
And again, like, it's just one of those things that helping, not only does it do a lot for me and knowing that I can give back and I can be a part of it, but knowing that my kids are learning to be a part of it too. But the sign-up sheets are in the mission area. There's a mission area, if you didn't realize, kind of right outside the office area before you head up the stairs, where you're going to find there's baskets for the different donations. Also any sign-up sheets for Loads of Love, for the banquet, for anything that we have going on. You can find all in that area, including the calendar for the giving calendar for December. There's also, so right now we have the baskets out, I know, for the hot chocolate, which came out of the giving calendar.
Right.
And so tell a little
And
bit why we are collecting hot chocolate.
So we're going to put them in some of our First United Methodist Church mugs and give those to the banquet participants as a gift. So it's kind of a great way of spreading the word of who they're, coming to a meal with, and maybe give them a church home to extend beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, that is always our hope, is that people can experience Christ through us, and that maybe if they don't have a church home, that they will feel with and loved enough to come here. So in the mugs, we're going to have hot chocolate.
Right. With gonna have to edit that part out. Sorry,
She's
had
gonna
to
be so
laugh.
mad because she's thinking I don't have mine on, but I do.
Okay, so the mugs have the hot chocolate and some probably peppermint sticks or something like that in it. And then we'll kind of dress it up with a bow and be able to give it out as a gift. So
Yeah.
pretty easy, but something special to be able to hand out. It's nice to be able to have something to give.
Especially because we are serving in the midst of the Christmas season. Again, in the church, we are in Advent right now, and Christmas begins on Christmas Day, and that's the 12 days of Christmas that lasts all the way through January 6th at Epiphany. And so we are technically going to be serving one of the Christmas meals for the banquet, which is a really special thing that we get to do. So Carla, looking into the new year, what are some of the things people can expect our church to be involved in missions?
Well, something that I'm really hoping for is, it's easy to take an angel off of the angel tree, but it's not necessarily that where it's going. So we hope to look towards a mission. I want to say that a mission project that everybody can be a part of. So multi-generational, like you said, the kids need to be a part of it as much as the adults, and something that we can go and learn and be a part of a hands-on mission. And sometimes I think that's almost as important as the dollars and cents of it. Is I think the education value behind what's going on means a lot.
Yeah,
And that's what Loads of Love too. I mean,
Yes.
it's not that it's a monetary donation that you're giving, it's that you're being the hands and feet of Jesus. I mean, this is part of being in the mission work, being in the
Yes.
mission field, I guess is how
Yeah.
the sign says, right?
Right. Yeah, we have that sign as
Yeah.
you leave our parking lot that you are now entering your mission field. And so that's really exciting. I'm really excited to get a mission trip going again.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. I think February we'll have Sweetheart Tree again, or
Right.
Sweetheart Board, or
Yeah, I say I think we're migrating to a board.
but
That's
that
what we're doing. But
Sweetheart something.
yes.
And that is going toward the River City Domestic Violence Center, and we are really proud to support them and partner them in the work that they are doing here in Yankton and in the surrounding areas, especially around people who are experiencing abuse and violence. And so be on the lookout for that. That's another long-standing mission
Mhm.
tradition that we have here in the church, and so that'll be coming up again soon.
Yeah, and so we do a lot of things throughout the year.
Mhm.
And I mean, I guess we could list through the calendar, but I think just watch for them, because I think it'll become more important as it gets closer to each
Yeah.
thing. And of course we'll, give you plenty of time to sign up and be a part of it. The other part of it is fundraising. I think that it's important to put the dollars and cents where you want them. And so I will be doing some fundraising for each of the missions as well. So watch for that, because I think that's part of being responsible, to not be on the budget as heavy, and to be more driven by your dollars and cents. So
And it does help us to know what are the things that you're really invested in and what
Mhm.
are the things that you're not, because we don't really want to spend a lot of time and energy on things that the church doesn't really believe in or isn't willing to invest in. But it is one of the ways that we looked at trimming our church budget, was that our missions would become sort of self funded. And so Carla was kind of the head of that, and making those choices and decisions, and I have to agree that I think that's the best thing for us. And again, it gives us valuable information, because if there's something that we've been doing that just isn't lighting that fire in your heart and soul, then maybe that is a mission best left for another group to take on, and we can really focus on the ones that are important and valuable to us. So
Yeah. I mean, I think a perfect example of that is the garden. Marilyn took that and really has run with it, and made a beautiful garden for a couple of years in a row now.
Yes.
And everybody talks about it through Healthy Yankton. And
yeah, well, and
And-
then taking
yeah.
the produce and making the
Yeah.
salsa, and they
Right.
also took some of that produce, and that help feeds into the care casseroles.
Right.
And so I love how our different mission things are combining in that way.
They support each other. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
because we can support others. So,
And I'm excited too about how different groups. So we've got this new green team coming in as well, and the ways in which I think what they're wanting to do and focus on, how that will fit in also with our mission and with our different things. So it's really cool to see how people are finding their passion and finding the thing that matters to them, and then finding ways to serve God through that. And so I'm really excited for this next year and what God has in store for us as the church. Well, Carla, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today. And clearly, we're going to have to bring her back. So whenever we have a big mission thing coming up, know that probably we'll get Carla on the podcast so that you can hear more about it right directly from her. So just a few things to remind you of. This coming Sunday, it is Christmas Eve, but the morning service at 10 o'clock is a regular Sunday service, because it is also the fourth Sunday of Advent. So that morning, we're going to be celebrating the fourth Sunday of Advent, and then we will celebrate Christmas Eve in our two evening services, one at 4:30 and the other one at 7. Those two services are the same service with slightly different special music. But the 10 o'clock service in the morning is not the Christmas Eve service. I want to say that like one more time. The 10 o'clock service, there's not a candle lighting, like singing Silent Night in that service, because it's the fourth Sunday of Advent. It's a weird year. That's just how it worked out this year. And then again, 4:30 and 7 for our Christmas Eve services. And so I'm very excited about that. The office will be closed on Christmas Day. And then the 27th, Men's Night Out is happening, and that will be at Mark Mooney's shed out by the bowling alley. If you've not been there before, I do believe that Jason is smoking meat again. And so I look forward to my fridge being stocked with ribs and brisket and pork, whatever, all through the holidays. But that'll be a really wonderful time. So I hope that if you are a guy, that you can attend that. And then the next night we are serving the banquet. So we've got a lot of great things happening. And I hope to see you at some or all of them. And I pray that you have a Merry Christmas, safe travels if you are traveling somewhere, and that you know that God is with you. That is what we celebrate, that God has come to earth to be with us. Praise the Lord. Until next time, God bless. Thank you for listening to this episode of What's Going On. We'd love to have you join us for worship here at the church on Sundays at 10 a.m. You can also find us online via our website at firstumcyankton.org or search for us on YouTube.